Will Everton sign Viktor Gyokeres, the big Swede from Coventry City? Hello guys, welcome back to yet another video. Today we've got to talk about this because the media are really building this up to be a deal that could go through in this next couple of days just before the end of the January transfer window. And I'm going to give my opinion as a Coventry City fan on whether I think this is going to go through and what I think of Viktor Gyokeres as a player in general. Just before we get into it, do make sure to drop a like. We'll go for 100 likes on the video, and do feel free to subscribe down below. Let me know your thoughts if you're a Coventry, Everton fan or a neutral. Let's get into it. Let's start with the man himself, Viktor Gyokeres. I don't think there's any Coventry City fan out there that doesn't like this guy. He is an absolute monster at scoring goals. There's one or two flaws we could pick at him. At sometimes his finishing could improve, but let's talk about what he's done since he's been here. Before he was here, he played elsewhere in Europe where he scored a couple goals. He played for Brighton and Swansea where he didn't really prove himself. And when he first came to Coventry City for a half-season loan deal, I wasn't too sure what to think of this guy. He did okay in his first spell at Coventry, scoring a couple goals in half a season, which was okay. We stayed in the Championship. And at the end of his loan spell in 2021, he did go on to sign for us as a permanent. And I'll be honest and say at the time, I wasn't sure what to think of it. I didn't outright think this is brilliant news. He just hadn't really proven himself. But in that 21-22 season, he did go on to become a name we are more familiar with. He got 18 goals in all competitions in that season. We could say he could have even scored more. He's a bit of a streaky player. He went on a really good start at the start of the season. I think he got 9 goals in 11, and then he went on a spell where he didn't score for about 10 games, and then he did start chipping in with goals towards the end of the season. And coming into the 22-23 season, which we're in now, he was starting to get quite a bit of attention. His price tag was going up. He was 23 years old coming into this season as well, so Everton were even linked with him in the summer, which is quite fascinating. Obviously it didn't go through then. Will it go through now? So far this season he's bagged another 13 goals in all competitions. He's obviously 24 years old now. As for his profile, he's 6'2", so he's quite tall, but he actually has quite a bit of pace about him. He can run at defenders. That's probably his key strength. Quite a few Coventry fans have said he'd be quite good as a wide player, someone on the left or right that can cut in and shoot, so that's something Everton could do if they were to go on and sign him, of course. He's quite good in the air. He's obviously quite physical as well, with him being 6'2", and off the pitch as well, I think he seems like a pretty sound and down-to-earth guy. Now, as a Coventry City fan, I'd say we've got 3 or 4 key players that we really want to hold on to that we'd say we've got pretty big price tags behind them now. Callum O'Hare, Gustavo Hamer and Gyokeres do stand out as those main ones. I'd even say Ben Sheaf is up there with a player who has a bit of a price tag behind him now. But for me, Gyokeres is very important to Coventry City because he has scored half of our goals this season. I would say he could score more. Honestly, if this guy was clinical, he could be on 20 goals already for this season, but he does have the ability to create chances from nothing sometimes, which is a fantastic ability to have. As for which system suits him best, well, at the start of last season I thought he worked quite well with Martin Waghorn when he was the lead striker, who's the more selfish striker bagging the goals. He actually works quite well on his own as a single striker sometimes when he's getting all the chances coming into him. I honestly wouldn't know what to expect if he was to sign for another team, especially for an Everton, because he's untested in the Premier League. That's the risk here for Everton. Could he cut it in the Premier League? As for Championship level, he'd be brilliant. If Everton do come down, then it's certainly a transfer they should be interested in. But right now they're competing to stay in the Premier League, and 18 million is what I've heard. Would that be worth risking on a player like Viktor Gyokeres? Now the next question is, what do I think his value is? I think people could speculate his value lots. Coventry fans will really value him quite highly because of what he means to us. Some clubs would look at him and think, oh, he's a Championship player, he's not played in the Premier League, is he worth that money? I'll be honest and say if Viktor Gyokeres was sold for anything less than 15 million, I'd be very disappointed. Yes, I could be biased because I'm a Coventry fan, but that's how I feel about things. Now let's just briefly speak about Everton themselves. Obviously Sean Dyche should be coming in at the time we're recording this video. Gordon has gone out, so they do need to re-equip. I do think they need to try and bring in as many good players as possible in this final couple of days, because I think there's a serious chance Everton could go down this year. Gyokeres, as I say though, is a gamble. What happens if they bring him in and he just can't cut it in the Premier League? He could do alright for them, as I say, if they go down to the Championship, but can he do it in the Premier League? I think he could. Honestly, I do have confidence in this guy sometimes. With Gyokeres' pace and his work ethic, I honestly think this guy will play in the Premier League one day. But could it be too early for him? He would need to hit the ground running with Everton being in dire straits that they are. And how much would they rely on him? Would they bring him in and just place him on the bench? Or do they want to put him into that starting 11? That's another question we'd have to ask. Let's finish off with Coventry City, and do I think we'll actually sell him? No, I don't think we will. I think there's obviously a chance. Nothing is impossible. But as a Coventry fan, I know Mark Robins has come out and said he will not sell Viktor Gyokeres this transfer window. We have got new owners as well, which could be key to keeping Viktor Gyokeres. I know Coventry City in Januaries before have sold some of their best players on that final day. James Maddison always comes to mind, the final day of January. We had Sam McCallum go out a couple seasons ago. That was a January deal. So sometimes we can sell them. Obviously, January seems to be when panic buys are. So Everton could chuck silly money at this, desperate to get Gyokeres before the transfer window shuts to try and stay up. And Coventry City might get pushed into a corner where we feel like we've got to accept that kind of money. It really does depend on how much Mark Robins and the owners value Viktor Gyokeres. I really want him to stay. Obviously, if Coventry City were to get something like 20 million in exchange for Gyokeres, that would be massive for the club. But right now, I think we need Gyokeres because he does get half of our goals. So that's my thoughts as a Coventry fan right now. Let's head over to Everton Rose, who's an Everton YouTuber. She's done a couple of videos talking about Viktor Gyokeres going to Everton, so do check her channel out. I will leave her a link down in the description. Do feel free to subscribe. She does really good content. Let's see what she has to say.
Hey, I'm Rose. I'm an Everton fan, and sorry, Sky Blues fans, I'm happy to be linked with Viktor Gyokeres. He's done really well for you guys, getting into double figures last season, this season, and for me it's a signing, or even being linked with a player like this is refreshing, because I don't think Everton have looked in the Championship often enough. I think with Dyche coming into our club, he wants to play two strikers, and I think Gyokeres and Calvert-Lewin up front instantly improves us. With his ability in the air and with the ball at his feet, and to hold up play as well. I do think it will be difficult this late in the window to get it over the line, but it's definitely the kind of profile of player, under 25, proven in the Championship, that I would like Everton to sign. Thanks.
So then guys, to wrap up the video, do get your opinions down below. Get your comments down below. Does Viktor Gyokeres go to Everton, or do we keep him? And if he does go, what money do we get for him? Like I say guys, do feel free to drop a like as well. Do feel free to subscribe and check out Everton Rose's channel down in the description. Thank you for your support guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.